everyone. Today, I want to talk about something simple yet powerful: focusing on yourself and letting success make the noise. In a world obsessed with validation, comparison, and constant sharing, this principle is a quiet rebellion. It's not about being silent. It's about letting your actions speak louder than your words. Let's break this down into 6 key ideas. We live in an age of constant information. Everywhere you look, someone is sharing something: opinions, achievements, failures, advice, critiques. Social media platforms are filled with highlight reels, perfectly curated lives that are designed to impress. News cycles are fast and overwhelming. Opinions are louder than facts, and it feels like the world is always trying to tell you who to be, what to do, and how to do it. But if you want to grow, if you want to succeed on your own terms, the first thing you need to learn is how to tune out the noise. Noise isn't just sound, it's distraction, it's comparison, it's self, doubt amplified by what you see others doing. It's the unnecessary pressure to keep up, to post, to be seen, to compete with people who aren't even running the same race as you. And the truth is, none of it matters, not really. Because the moment you start measuring your worth or your progress against someone else's timeline, you begin to lose the essence of your own journey. There is a quiet kind of confidence in those who know how to stay focused, who aren't swayed by external chatter. These people don't need to announce every step they take, because they understand something most don't. Real growth happens internally, away from the spotlight, away from the validation. And the people who build in silence are the ones who end up building something real, something lasting. But tuning out the noise isn't easy. It takes intentional effort. It means saying no when the world wants a yes. It means staying off your phone sometimes when your mind needs space to breathe. It means not jumping at every trend, not trying to please everyone, not chasing likes, follows, or attention. It means choosing depth over display. You have to be okay with being misunderstood sometimes. You have to be okay with being unseen while you're working, because your worth isn't tied to how many people are watching you. It's tied to how much you believe in what you're doing when no one is. Noise can come from outside, but often the loudest distractions are internal. That voice in your head that says you're not good enough, not ready, not as talented as the person next to you. That voice is noise too. And it's just as important to silence that voice as it is to mute the world around you. Because self-doubt can be paralyzing. It makes you hesitate. It makes you procrastinate. It makes you give up before you even start. You have to learn to talk back to that voice with truth. Remind yourself of your growth, of your efforts, of the progress that might not be visible to the world, but that you feel in your bones. Sometimes the noise isn't even negative. Sometimes it's the praise, the applause, the early wins that distract you from doing the deeper work. You get comfortable, complacent, and that's just as dangerous as self-doubt, because growth doesn't stop when people start clapping. Growth stops when you think you've arrived. You have to stay hungry, humble, and focused. Whether people are cheering or criticizing, you can't let it throw you off. You can acknowledge it, sure, but don't let it control you. Keep your head down, stay the course. There's power in silence. There's power in restraint. And there's power in learning how to keep your energy contained, focused, and protected. You don't need to announce your goals. You don't need to prove yourself to anyone but you. The world will catch up when it's time. Let them be surprised. Let your success show up louder than your words ever could. Think about a seed. You plant it in the soil, and for a long time it looks like nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, there's movement. There's growth, roots are forming, a foundation is being built, and only when it's strong enough does it push through the surface and become visible. That's you, your work, your dreams, your process. It's underground right now. And that's okay. That's where it should be. Don't rush it just because someone else's tree is already blooming. Focus on your soil, focus on your roots, focus on the conditions that will help you grow strong and steady. Because when you bloom, it won't be a fluke. It'll be a result of all the quiet, consistent effort you put in when no one was watching. It's also important to realize that not all advice is useful. Sometimes people will project their fears onto you. They'll tell you to play it safe, to take the traditional route, to avoid risk. That's noise. Learn to discern the difference between constructive feedback and limiting beliefs disguised as guidance. You don't have to be rude or dismissive, just be selective about what you absorb. Protect your mental space the same way you'd protect your physical space. You wouldn't let just anyone into your home. Don't let just any thought into your mind. There will always be people talking. There will always be people watching, but none of them can live your life for you. None of them can feel what you feel, know what you know, or dream what you dream. Your path is yours, your timing is yours, and the more you tune into that inner voice, the one that believes in you even when the world doesn't, the more clarity you'll gain. That voice is your compass. Follow it so the next time you feel overwhelmed by the noise, pause, breathe, step back, ask yourself, what matters to me? What do I want? What is my definition of success? And then move in that direction, even if it's quiet, even if no one notices, especially if no one notices. Because when you're truly focused on your goals, on your growth, and on becoming the person you were meant to be, the noise fades. And in that quiet, you'll find your strength. Let the world talk, let them wonder, you just keep building, keep learning, keep showing up for yourself, and one day when your work finally speaks, it'll echo louder than any noise you ever tuned out. There's something incredibly liberating about realizing that the only person you truly need to compete with is yourself. When you internalize that idea, really feel it in your core, you stop wasting energy trying to outshine others and start channeling that energy into evolving into someone better than who you were yesterday. Self-improvement at its core is about commitment. It's not something you do occasionally when it's convenient or trendy. It's a full-time job, one that pays in long-term growth, personal satisfaction, and the kind of success that doesn't need to be flaunted to be felt. The most successful people in any field understand that the path to greatness isn't paved in shortcuts. It's a road built on discipline, on waking up every day with the intention to be just a little bit better than you were the day before. That doesn't mean grinding yourself into exhaustion or becoming obsessed with perfection. It means being honest with yourself about where you are, where you want to be, and what it's going to take to bridge that gap. Self-improvement starts with self-awareness. You have to be willing to take a good, hard look at your strengths and your weaknesses, not from a place of judgment, but from a place of clarity. What are your habits? What are your patterns? What do you do when no one's watching? Growth doesn't begin when things are easy. It begins when you recognize what's holding you back and take responsibility for it. It's not about blaming the world or waiting for better circumstances. It's about owning your life. That's the most empowering thing you can do. Because once you realize that you are in charge of your own progress, you stop making excuses. You stop waiting for motivation. You stop relying on someone else to push you. You learn to push yourself. That's when the game changes, and this journey is different for everyone. For some, it's about physical health. Waking up early, exercising consistently, eating better. For others, it's about mastering a skill, building emotional intelligence, improving relationships, or breaking toxic habits. Whatever your goals are, the principle stays the same. You are your biggest project. Every single day is a chance to build on that. The beautiful thing about self-improvement is that it compounds. Small actions taken consistently create big results over time. You don't need to have it all figured out on day one. You don't need to make massive changes overnight. In fact, you shouldn't. The key is consistency. Reading 10 pages a day doesn't seem like much, but over a year, that's 150 pages. That's several books. Waking up 30 minutes earlier each day gives you over 180 hours of extra time per year. That's 5 work weeks. Small decisions, repeated daily, are what build momentum, but make no mistake, this journey requires sacrifice. It means saying no when it's easier to say yes. It means doing the work when no one is clapping for you. It means missing out on short-term pleasure for long-term fulfillment. And yes, it gets lonely sometimes. Because not everyone will understand why you're changing. Not everyone will support your growth. In fact, your progress might even make others uncomfortable. That's okay. Your journey isn't about them. It's about you. You have to become your own biggest supporter, your own accountability partner, your own source of motivation. Of course, it's great to have mentors, friends, and coaches. But at the end of the day, no one can do the work for you. You're the one who has to show up. You're the one who has to stay focused when distractions come. You're the one who has to keep going when progress feels slow. And that's the thing. Progress will feel slow sometimes. You'll hit plateaus. You'll question whether the effort is worth it. You'll compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20 and feel discouraged. But don't stop. Progress isn't always visible in the moment. Sometimes it shows up in your discipline, in your resilience, in how you react to failure, in how you bounce back after being knocked down. That's growth too. The other thing people forget is that self-improvement isn't just about doing more. It's also about becoming more. More present, more intentional, more aligned with who you want to be. It's not just about achieving external success. It's about internal fulfillment. You could have all the accomplishments in the world, but if you're not at peace with yourself, if you're not growing as a person, it's empty. That's why the inner work matters just as much, if not more. Learning how to manage your thoughts, how to control your emotions, how to stay grounded. That's real success. Developing patience, humility, kindness, grit. Those are the things that shape you into someone who not only reaches goals, but also lives well while pursuing them. Because self-improvement isn't just about the destination. It's about who you become on the way there. This process never ends, and that's a good thing, because the moment you think you're done growing, you've already started to decline. There's always another level. There's always a new challenge, and with every challenge comes an opportunity to level up, to learn, to adapt, to evolve. You have to learn to enjoy the process, to fall in love with the grind, not because it's always fun, but because you understand what it's doing for you. You're not just building habits, you're building character, you're building identity, you're becoming the kind of person who follows through, who doesn't give up, who shows up even when it's hard, and that kind of person. That kind of person wins, not just once, but again and again. So remind yourself often, you are the project, you are the work in progress, and the work is worth it. Don't wait for a perfect moment to begin. Start now, start messy, start scared. Just start. Take ownership of your journey and show up for yourself every day like it's your job. Because it is. Not because you need to prove anything to anyone else, but because you owe it to you. To the future version of yourself who will thank you for not giving up. To the version of you that's waiting on the other side of effort. That person is stronger, wiser, more grounded, and you get to meet them. One intentional day at a time. There's something undeniably powerful about moving in silence. In a world that seems to value noise over nuance and broadcasting over building, choosing to grow quietly has become a rare strength. These days, it feels like every small step people take is immediately posted, shared, and celebrated online. The moment someone starts a new project, they announce it to the world. When they begin working out, the selfies come. If they have an idea, it's on a story within the hour. And while there's nothing wrong with sharing your journey, there's an overlooked value in doing the work when no one's watching, when no one even knows you're doing it. Progress in silence is about prioritizing the work over the recognition. It's about valuing growth over attention. And, most importantly, it's about understanding that true transformation doesn't need an audience. In fact, some of the most powerful changes we go through, the ones that shape us deeply, happen in the quietest moments, far away from the spotlight. They happen when you're up late studying alone, when you're waking up before dawn to work on your craft, when you're saying no to things that don't serve you, even when no one is there to applaud your discipline. It's easy to get caught up in the illusion of progress, to look productive instead of being productive. Sharing your goals can sometimes give you a premature sense of accomplishment, like you've already done something just by announcing your intention. But saying you're going to do something is not the same as doing it. Real work is often unglamorous, it's repetitive, it's difficult, and most of the time it goes unnoticed. That's why so many people give up. They're chasing results and recognition, and when neither comes quickly, they stop. But when you make peace with the silence, you begin to unlock something different. You shift your focus inward. You start doing things for the right reasons, not because they'll get likes or validation, but because they align with who you want to become. You start measuring your success not by how many people notice, but by how much you've grown. You realize that applause can be temporary, but improvement lasts forever. Working in silence also gives you the freedom to fail. And failure, as uncomfortable as it is essential for growth. When you're constantly announcing your every move, you feel pressure to succeed quickly, to show results fast. But when you're operating under the radar, you get the gift of time and space, to experiment, to stumble, to learn, and to get better without judgment. Silence becomes your safety net, a space to refine your skills, sharpen your mindset, and make real progress without the fear of public scrutiny. You also protect your energy by keeping things to yourself. Not everyone needs to know your next move. Not everyone will support you, and not everyone will understand your vision, and that's okay. You're not building your life for them. You're building it for you. Keeping your goals private allows you to nurture them. Think of your progress like a seed, fragile at first, needing protection from the elements. If you expose it too soon, it may not survive. But if you keep it rooted, give it time, water it daily with effort and patience, it will grow into something undeniable, something that no one can ignore when it finally breaks through the surface. There's also something deeply satisfying about proving things to yourself instead of others. That quiet internal victory. That moment when you realize you've become stronger, more focused, more capable, is far more meaningful than any amount of external praise, because that's a win no one can take from you. It's yours, earned, solid, and it stays with you. People often ask how to stay motivated. The answer is, don't rely on motivation. Rely on momentum. Motivation comes and goes, but momentum is built in silence. When you wake up and do the work day after day, regardless of whether you feel like it, that's where progress lives. You create a rhythm, you build resilience, and you learn that progress isn't about bursts of effort. It's about sustained discipline. And the beautiful thing about moving in silence is that one day the results will speak for you. People will start to notice, not because you told them, but because your transformation becomes impossible to ignore. That's the difference between noise and impact. Noise is loud but temporary. Impact is quiet at first, but lasting. You don't need to convince anyone of what you're doing. Just keep doing it. Eventually, they'll see. Eventually, your success will be louder than any announcement you could have made. Some of the most successful people in history built their empires brick by brick, away from the public eye. They didn't seek immediate validation. They didn't need a constant spotlight. They stayed focused on the mission, on the process. And when it was time, the world took notice, not because they talked about it, but because they delivered something undeniable. It's okay to be unseen. It's okay if no one claps yet. It's okay if your process is quiet. You're not behind. You're not invisible. You're just getting ready, and when your time comes, your results will be your voice. Your discipline will be your message. Your journey will be your story, and it will be worth telling. So stay in the lab. Stay in the gym. Stay in the books. Stay in your lane. Keep showing up, especially on the days when no one sees you. Because those are the days that count the most, Not the ones with the big wins, but the ones where you chose to show up without applause. Those are the days that shape you, that mold you, that separate you from everyone else who gave up when the silence got too loud. Don't be afraid of that silence. Embrace it, grow in it, own it, because that's where the real work happens. That's where the magic is made. And when your progress finally shows, it won't need an introduction. It'll walk into the room before you do. It'll speak for itself, and it'll be loud enough for everyone to hear. Even though you didn't say a word, there's something incredibly powerful about not needing to explain yourself. About walking into a room and letting your energy, your work, your presence speak for you. That's what it means to let success be your signature. It's a quiet kind of confidence. It's the power of not needing to say, "I'm good," because your results say it for you. Success has a way of revealing the truth. You don't have to defend your hustle, argue for your potential, or advertise your every move when the outcome is undeniable. When you've put in the work, when you've stayed committed to your growth, when you've poured your heart into your journey, people will notice, not because you told them to, not because you demanded attention, but because success leaves a trail, and when it's real, you won't need to convince anyone. The proof will be in the product, but here's the catch. For success to be your signature, you have to stop chasing recognition and start chasing excellence. There's a big difference between being loud and being legendary. The loud ones scream for attention. The legendary ones get talked about long after they've left the room. Being known for what you've accomplished, what you've built, how you've carried yourself, that's legacy. That's power. That's the kind of success that doesn't fade with time or trend. It lasts. It's not about being flashy. It's not about proving a point to the doubters or the critics. It's about becoming so focused, so locked in on your purpose, that your work naturally becomes your reputation. When people hear your name, they should associate it with quality, integrity, and consistency. Not because you begged for credit, but because your track record speaks louder than any words could. This takes patience. It takes discipline. It takes learning to fall in love with the grind, not the glory, because real success doesn't happen overnight. It's built brick by brick, day by day, through late nights, early mornings, quiet sacrifices, and unwavering faith in your mission. It's not always glamorous. In fact, it rarely is, but it's always worth it. Because when you build something from the ground up, with your own hands, your own sweat, your own belief, it means something. It's not just a result. It's a reflection of who you've become. Letting success be your signature also means resisting the urge to retaliate. People will doubt you, underestimate you, misunderstand you. That's fine, that's part of the process, but your energy is better spent on building than battling. Let them think what they want, let them assume, let them laugh, then go work, go grow, go get so good they can't ignore you. Because when you let your results do the talking, the conversation changes. Suddenly the same people who once questioned you are asking how you did it. This is where maturity comes in. It's easy to want to clap back, to prove people wrong out loud, but silence is powerful. Growth is louder than gossip. Results outshine rumors. Let your elevation be your explanation. When you win with grace, when you grow in silence and show up with excellence, you not only inspire others, you earn respect. And not just temporary respect, but lasting, deep-rooted respect that can't be shaken. Think about the people you admire, the ones who have left a mark, the ones whose names hold weight. Chances are they didn't get there by broadcasting every move. They built, they refined, they led by example, they let the work shine, and now their names are spoken with admiration. Not because they demanded it, but because they earned it. That's what it means to let success be your signature. It's not a shout, it's a stamp. It's a mark that says, "I showed up, I did the work, and this is who I am now." But this kind of success doesn't come from ego. It comes from alignment, from knowing who you are, what you stand for, and where you're going. It's about staying true to your path, even when it's quiet, even when it's slow, even when no one claps for you yet. Because when you walk in purpose, when you move with intention, the wins eventually come. Not because you forced them, but because you stayed ready, and when the success does show up, when the opportunities come, when the breakthroughs happen, don't forget how you got there. Don't forget the quiet mornings, the hard choices, the lonely nights, the internal battles you fought and won. Let that humility ground you. Let it be the foundation you stand on, because real success doesn't just elevate your life. It elevates your character. It teaches you how to carry greatness with grace. There's also a responsibility that comes with success. Once your name starts to hold weight, once people start to listen, what will you say? What will you represent? What will your success be tied to? Because your signature isn't just about achievement. It's about legacy. It's about what people feel when they think of you. Were you kind? Were you real? Did you help others rise while you climbed? That's the deeper level of success. Not just what you did, but how you did it. You don't have to be famous to make your mark. You don't need millions of followers or constant praise. Your signature can be the way you treat people, the way you stay disciplined, the way you keep going even when it's hard. Let that be what people remember. Let your excellence be felt, not flaunted. So keep building, keep grinding, keep evolving. Don't worry if they don't see you yet. Don't get discouraged if no one's clapping. Focus on the foundation. Sharpen your skills, stay focused, because one day, when the doors open and the lights turn on, the world will see what you've been working on all along. And when they do, you won't need to say a word. Your work will speak, your growth will speak, your consistency, your integrity, your mastery, that will speak, and when it does, it'll say everything that needed to be said. That's the goal, not noise, but a name. Not just attention, but impact. Not just doing well, but doing it in a way that no one can deny. Because in the end, anyone can talk, but not everyone can deliver. So don't rush the signature. Don't fake it. Don't force it. Just keep showing up, keep putting in the reps, and let your success become the undeniable imprint of who you are, quiet, confident, real, unshakable. Let that be your legacy. Let that be your signature. Would you like the 5th point expanded next, or all sections so far combined into a single, flowing full speech? Confidence is quiet. It's steady. It's grounded in self-awareness, not self-importance. It doesn't need to announce itself because it's not looking for approval. It's built on truth. True confidence isn't loud or flashy. It's that calm presence you feel when someone walks into a room and doesn't need to be the center of attention because they already know who they are. They've put in the work, they've earned their place, they're rooted. That's real confidence, and it's miles away from arrogance. Arrogance, on the other hand, is loud. It's defensive. It tries too hard to be seen, too hard to be validated. It's built on insecurity, dressed up in a mask of superiority. Arrogance talks about what it's going to do. Confidence just does it. Arrogance demands the spotlight. Confidence doesn't mind working in the dark. And that's the line so many people miss. Because in a world where boldness is celebrated and humility often gets overlooked, it's easy to blur the two. But if you're serious about growth, if you're really about letting success make the noise, then you've got to understand the difference. Confidence is built. It comes from discipline, from consistent action, from showing up for yourself over and over again, even when no one's watching. It's a quiet belief that says, I've been here before. I know what I'm capable of. And even if you haven't done it yet, confidence allows you to say, I don't know how, but I'll figure it out. It's not pretending to have all the answers. It's being comfortable with the process of learning. It's knowing your worth without needing to shout it from the rooftops, and because of that, confidence doesn't compete with others. It focuses on becoming the best version of you. You don't have to tear anyone else down to stand tall. You just stand tall because that's who you are becoming. That's the internal work speaking. The most confident people in the world rarely talk about themselves. Why? Because they don't need to. Their actions, their energy, their consistency, they say it all. Confidence is that quiet resilience. It's choosing to keep going when things fall apart. It's holding your ground when doubt creeps in. It's trusting yourself, even when others don't see what you see. Because you've put in the hours, you've lived the struggle, you've learned the lessons. Arrogance skips that part. Arrogance wants the reward without the effort. It wants to be praised without being proven. It acts like it knows everything, but deep down it's fragile. It breaks easily under pressure because arrogance is performative. It's about how things look. Confidence is about how things are. And when the heat turns up, when it's time to deliver, the difference becomes painfully obvious. That's why the most dangerous kind of person is someone who's confident and humble. Someone who walks softly but moves with purpose. Someone who's not afraid to admit what they don't know, but equally not afraid to step into what they do know. That kind of person is grounded, unshakable, because they've separated their worth from external applause. They've learned that self-belief is earned in the dark, when no one's watching, and when everything inside you wants to quit. It's easy to act confident when things are going well, when you're winning, when people are cheering. But true confidence is tested in silence, in setbacks, in solitude. Can you still show up when the results aren't there yet? Can you still believe when the evidence is thin? That's where confidence is refined. That's where you develop the quiet strength that doesn't need recognition to be real. And when you're confident, you don't need to prove people wrong. You're not driven by revenge or ego. You're driven by vision, by discipline. You're not looking to outshine anyone. You're just committed to shining in your own lane. You support others. You celebrate their wins. Because you're secure enough to know that someone else's light doesn't dim your own. That's what confidence gives you. Peace, freedom, the ability to move without needing to be seen. Arrogance, though, can't handle that. It always feels threatened. It competes with everything. It wants to be the loudest, the flashiest, the most applauded, even at the cost of authenticity. And in the end, arrogance collapses under its own weight. Because it's not built on truth. It's not sustainable. Eventually it gets exposed. Because when the spotlight fades, when the hype dies down, what's left? If there's no substance, no inner strength, no real foundation, there's nothing to stand on. But if you build real confidence, you don't need a stage. You don't need to be seen to feel valuable. You don't need permission to take up space. You've earned it. You've worked for it. And you carry that energy everywhere you go. Not as arrogance, but as assurance. The kind that says, I know what I bring to the table, and I'm not afraid to eat alone if I have to. That's the kind of energy that draws people in. That's the kind of presence that doesn't need to boast. So how do you build it? Through action, through keeping your promises to yourself, through doing the hard things consistently, not for recognition, but because you said you would. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you build confidence. Every time you show up, even when it's uncomfortable, you build confidence. Every time you stay grounded in who you are, regardless of who's watching, you build confidence, and over time it becomes who you are. Not something you have to think about, not something you have to fake. It becomes a natural part of you, a quiet strength that doesn't need to shout, a kind of inner peace that can't be shaken. And when you reach that place, you realize you don't need to talk about your potential. You don't need to flex or compare or dominate. You just are. You just do the work. You just show up and let everything else fall into place. Confidence is humble because it knows what it's taken to get here. Confidence is kind because it's not threatened by someone else's success. Confidence is focused because it doesn't waste time proving anything to anyone. It's already proven to you. So walk with that energy. Stand in your truth, build yourself quietly, daily, deeply, and when the time comes, when the moment is right, let your presence speak, let your discipline show, let your energy announce what words never could. That's confidence, and that's what separates you from the noise. In a world that thrives on instant gratification, trusting the long game feels like swimming upstream. Everyone wants results now. We've been conditioned to expect immediate responses, instant success, fast growth. But the truth is, anything real, anything meaningful, anything that lasts, takes time. It takes patience, persistence, and an unshakable belief in what you're building, even when it feels like nothing's happening. That's the essence of the long game, and if you really want to create something that endures, something that defines you, something that elevates your life, then you have to learn how to play it. The long game isn't glamorous. It's not about quick wins or overnight transformations. It's about staying consistent even when the payoff feels far away. It's about planting seeds today that might not bloom for months, maybe even years. And that's tough because we're human. We want validation. We want proof that our effort is worth it. We want to see the reward right after the work. But the long game doesn't work on our timeline. It requires us to show up without applause, to keep moving without milestones, to trust the process more than the results. That kind of mindset is rare, but it's powerful. Because when you commit to the long game, you separate yourself from the crowd. You stop chasing trends and start building foundations. You stop comparing yourself to others and start mastering your own lane. And over time, that steady commitment compounds. Like interest in a savings account, like a muscle being worked consistently, like a fire that's been stoked every day it grows, slowly at first, then all at once, until suddenly you look back and realize how far you've come. But here's the key: you have to believe in what you're doing long before anyone else does. You have to be your own source of motivation, your own source of discipline, your own source of validation. Because in the long game, there are no shortcuts. There's no hack, no viral moment, no magic formula, just steady progress, just quiet effort, just the courage to keep going, especially when the results haven't caught up yet. Trusting the long game means understanding that failure is part of it. Setbacks aren't signs that you're off course. They're part of the path. Every detour, every delay, every obstacle you overcome is making you stronger, sharper, more resilient. You're not falling behind. You're building depth, you're building character, you're building something that can't be taken away. That's what the long game gives you. Not just success, but sustainability. Not just wins, but wisdom. The people who win in the long run aren't always the most talented. They're not always the ones with the loudest voices or the biggest followings. They're the ones who didn't quit, the ones who stayed steady. The ones who were willing to be invisible for a while, willing to be underestimated, willing to be misunderstood because they saw the bigger picture. They knew that success wasn't a moment, it was a journey. And they were patient enough to walk it all the way through. Think about a tree. You don't plant a seed and expect a full-grown tree by next week. You water it, you protect it. You let the roots grow deep before the branches ever reach for the sky. Success is no different. You've got to root yourself in discipline, in daily habits, in focused effort, and yes, it takes time. But when those roots are deep, the growth above the surface becomes unstoppable. You don't just rise, you rise with stability, with strength, with longevity. There will be days when it feels like nothing is working, when progress is invisible, when everyone else seems to be moving faster, doing more, winning bigger. That's when the long game demands the most from you. That's when you have to dig deep and remember why you started. You didn't start for a quick fix. You didn't start to impress anyone. You started because there's something in you. Something real, something raw. That knows you're meant for more. That knows your vision is bigger than any moment of doubt. And the beautiful thing about the long game is that it transforms you. Not just what you do, but who you are. It teaches you how to be patient, how to be disciplined, how to value effort over outcome. You stop asking, how fast can I get there? And start asking, how strong can I become along the way? That shift changes everything. Because now, even when things don't go your way, you're still growing. Still winning, still moving forward. Every rep you do when no one's watching, every early morning, every hard choice, every time you keep going when it would have been easier to quit. That's the long game paying off. Quietly, consistently, powerfully, and eventually you'll have something that can't be denied. Not because you shouted about it, but because you lived it. You earned it. You became it. That's what makes the long game so worth it. It's not just about the destination. It's about becoming the kind of person who could reach it. The kind of person who didn't fold under pressure, who didn't let setbacks steal the dream, who chose discipline over distraction, Patience over panic, faith over fear. So stop obsessing over timelines. Stop comparing your chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 30. Stay in your lane, show up for your vision, build it brick by brick, and trust that if you stay consistent, if you keep growing, if you refuse to give up, the long game will reward you. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but it's coming, because real success isn't something you stumble into. It's something you earn, something you craft, something you wake up every day and fight for with everything you've got. And when it finally arrives, you won't just be proud of the result, you'll be proud of who you had to become to get there. So take a deep breath, lock in, and keep going. You're not behind. You're building something timeless.